You want to know how it really happened? I'll tell you, but only if you promise to listen, not just hear the story, but listen because trust me, I didn't see any of this coming the night that man slammed a stack of papers down in front of me at the Old Town Cafe. If you're so damn smart, he sneered, slapping the contract on the counter hard enough to rattle the forks. Then translate this. The whole place froze. Even the ancient jukebox hiccuped in its Motown shuffle, but I didn't flinch, not for a second. Amaya Williams, 19, black, hair tied back, apron faded gray, and smelling like hash browns. Darius Whitmore? He's a legend in a Navy suit, tech mogul with a stare sharp as a knife. And until that night, I was just the waitress in his periphery. His billion-dollar merger was on life support, and he landed in my section with a brow furrowed and red ink bleeding through page after page. "Looks like you're wrestling a bear," I said as I topped off his coffee. He barely glanced up. "It's a contract, sweetheart. You wouldn't understand." That's when I decided to poke the bear. I said, calm as ever. He snapped. "Didn't matter. I asked for the whole contract." "Does it matter?" He scoffed. "It does. Context changes things." He shrugged, so I started reading. My fingers moved steady, eyes faster than most gave me credit for. People buzzed around me, but I drifted into that place where logic wins and panic loses. "You've got a clause here," I said, pointing, "lets them back out if your stock drops 7% after the merger. And this part market disruption vague as hell. They can spin that any way they want." "Oh, and the escrow? For 100 mil, no triggers? They're holding you hostage, not partnering." He leaned in, eyes narrow. "How do you know all this?" "Emory pre-law." I answered, never looking up before my mom got sick. "Had to trade law books for hash browns." For a moment, he just studied me. I could tell he wasn't used to losing, especially to a waitress, but he lost that round. "I'm surprised you stuck around," he tried. "I'm surprised you thought you wouldn't meet anyone smarter than you in a diner." I shot back, and I could see I landed a jab. For the first time in ages, his world tilted a little. He wanted my advice. I gave it. "Fix clause 7C, trigger releases on that escrow, or get squeezed." I slid the contract back and, honestly, expected that to be the end of it. He offered coffee, but I just nodded toward the mug he hadn't touched. "You already did." I walked away head high, hand steady in for once. The words on his page probably made sense, but not because of him. He didn't realize the most important meeting of his life happened in a booth under flickering neon, not some penthouse boardroom. What happened next? Well, let's just say the story wasn't finished. Darius showed up 2 days later, right at lunch rush. Didn't even pretend he belonged, suit sharp, face sharper. I caught his eye, arms full of glasses, apron even shabbier. "Back for the eggs?" I asked, not missing a beat. "Back for you," he replied, dead serious. I told him I was working. He said, "Just want to say thanks. You saved me from a disaster. Millions at least." I couldn't help but grin. "You sure you want to be seen thanking a waitress?" That's when he said it. "I'm not sure you're just a waitress." Turns out, he saw through the surface. He asked about my life, how a kid who outsmarted his lawyers wound up at this counter instead of in a courtroom. I told him for law, full ride, my trial champ, but life's got no script. My mom got sick, my little brother started fighting at school, the bills stacked up, and suddenly college had to wait. But I never stopped learning law blogs, code, building a legal literacy app for teens. He really listened. Offered me something, but I told him straight, "Don't make me your project. If we do this, I want to be your equal." "You will be," he promised. 3 days later, I walked into Whitmore Tech 29th floor, everything too clean, too shiny, security checking my ID twice. The receptionist called me Waitress Maya, like it was a joke. But I sat down with my binder full of app sketches, laid out my priorities, plain language, layered content, real-world scenarios. Darius was in. Then came Raymond Teller, their legal guy, giving me that old-school, tight-lipped smile. He tried to ice me out, suggested scaling back my project. I pushed back, told Darius I didn't want handouts, just backup. That night, at home, my brother asked, "You really think they'll let you finish it?" "I'm not waiting for permission," I said. When the first prototype launched, it was barely held together, recorded voiceovers in the middle of the night, janky animations, a start button shaped like a gavel. But it worked. I showed Darius, and he was floored. He let me lead. I held meetings, listened more than I talked, let junior designers pitch first. We piloted in Atlanta high schools, handed out QR codes at bus stops. When a student at Langston Prep told me the app helped his mom fight an eviction, I knew we were onto something real. Then came the pushback locked badges, missed meetings. Raymond tried to quietly stall me out. But I wasn't having it. I went to Darius, told him, "They're trying to suffocate this." He wanted to intervene, but I needed to win this on my terms. So I brought donuts, fired up the demo, played real testimonials. "This isn't advice," I told them. "It's education." Raymond tried to cut in. I told him to wait. Darius backed me up in front of the whole team. From now on, every deal goes through Maya first. Still, the world outside wasn't ready for a black girl with no degree leading legal innovation. The news broke. Some called me a prodigy. Others called it a PR stunt. Investors grumbled. One board member tried to talk co-leads and real policy experience. I stood my ground. You hired me because I live the gap this app is trying to close. I won't be managed into silence by someone with no skin in the fight. For the first time, people at Whitmore Tech really saw MESM for the first time ever. Then the pilot went national. The president's office called. My old mentor at Emory invited me back to finish my degree, full scholarship. My app lobbying was in libraries, schools, probation offices. I testified before Congress. We built a nonprofit. And one night, almost a year to the day, I sat back in that same cafe, drinking coffee with Darius. "You ever think it'd come to this?" he asked. "Didn't think it'd go anywhere," I answered, but the truth's a powerful bet. A new waitress, nervous and bright-eyed, brought over our check. "You're her, right? The app lady?" My aunt used it at her job back after she was fired. I squeezed her hand. She did that herself. I just handed her the flashlight. Darius raised his mug. "To the ones who never got a second look." I raised mine, too. "And to the ones who made them look again." You know, justice doesn't show up in a title or a press release. It shows up in a cracked diner mug, a classroom, a kid who finally knows what he's signing. So I'll ask you, what do you think it takes to rewrite the rules? Drop your thoughts below, because stories like this, they don't end unless we keep telling them. If you're ready for more, hit that subscribe, share your story, and let's make them look again.